The story of Marcus's hair, just a little off the top. Once upon a time, in the early 1960s, there was a black man named Marcus. Marcus had the most amazing head of hair you had ever seen. It was long and curly, and he took great pride in it. Every day, he would spend hours getting it just right. He would use all kinds of products to keep it looking perfect, and he never left the house without making sure every strand was in place. Marcus was known around town as the man with the hair. People would stop him on the street just to admire it. They would ask him what his secret was, and he would smile and tell them that it was all natural. In those days, the hairstyle of choice for black men was the conch. This involved using harsh chemicals to straighten the hair and make it more manageable. But Marcus refused to conform to society's expectations. He loved his curly hair, and he wasn't going to change it for anyone. As the years went by, the conch went out of style, and the afro became popular in the mid-70s. Marcus embraced this new trend, and his hair grew bigger and bigger. He started wearing colorful headbands to keep it out of his face, and he even got a pick with a fist on the end to help him maintain the perfect shape. One day, Marcus was walking down the street, minding his own business, when he heard a commotion behind him. He turned around to see a group of men chasing after him. They were shouting something about his hair, but he couldn't make out what they were saying. Marcus took off running, his afro bouncing with every step. He was a fast runner, but the men were gaining on him. Suddenly, he heard a loud ripping sound, and he felt a tug on his scalp. He turned around to see that one of the men had grabbed a handful of his hair and was holding on tight. Marcus tried to pull away, but the man was too strong. He yanked his head back, and Marcus fell to the ground. His afro now a tangled mess. The men laughed and walked away, leaving Marcus to pick himself up and assess the damage. His once perfect hair was now a disaster. It was matted and tangled, and he couldn't even run his fingers through it. Marcus felt defeated. He had spent so much time and energy on his hair, only to have it destroyed in an instant. But Marcus was not one to give up easily. He knew he had to do something to salvage his beloved hair. He went to a local beauty supply store and bought every product he could find. He spent hours combing and detangling, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, he decided to try something new. He went to a salon and got a jerry curl. This involved putting chemicals in the hair to create a looser curl pattern. Marcus was nervous, but he trusted the stylist, who assured him that his hair would be restored to its former glory. When Marcus left the salon, he felt like a new man. His hair was soft and bouncy, and he couldn't stop running his fingers through it. He went to the nearest mirror and marveled at his new look. But the jerry curl was not without its challenges. Marcus had to wear a shower cap to bed every night to keep his hair from getting ruined. He had to use special products to keep it looking good, and he had to be careful not to get caught in the rain. Despite these challenges, Marcus was thrilled with his new hair. He felt like he had a fresh start, and he was excited to see what the future held. As the years went by, hairstyles continued to change. In the mid-90s, flat and high-top fades became popular, and Marcus once again adapted to the trend. He cut off his jerry curl and got a sharp, clean cut. He still wore colorful headbands, but now they matched his clothes instead of his hair. In the mid-00s, bald heads and dreadlocks became popular, and Marcus found himself at a crossroads. He loved his hair, but he also wanted to try something new. He ultimately decided to shave his head and start fresh. At first, Marcus felt naked without his hair. He was used to hiding behind his big afro or his sharp fade, and now he had nothing to hide behind. But as time went on, he grew to love his bald head. He no longer had to worry about styling or maintenance, and he felt liberated in a way he never had before. Looking back on his journey, Marcus realized that his hair had taught him a valuable lesson. It wasn't about conforming to society's expectations or following the latest trend. It was about embracing what made him unique and standing out from the crowd. And as he walked down the street with his bald head shining in the sun, he knew that he had finally found his true style. He smiled to himself, knowing that no matter what the future held, he would always be true to himself and his hair. Moral of the story: don't be afraid to be yourself, even if it means standing out from the crowd. Embrace what makes you unique, and don't be afraid to try new things. And most importantly, don't let anyone else dictate your style or your choices. A funny poem, A Bald-Head Cat Named Pat by Reuben White. There once was a cat named Pat, who liked to wear a fancy hat, but when he tried to strut his stuff, the hat fell off and he looked rough. He tried and tried to make it stay, but it kept falling off all day, so he decided to give up the fight, and just embrace his bald head sight. Now Pat's a happy little cat, who never worries about his hat. He's always smiling, never glum, and enjoys his head's natural plumb.